Good morning, brothers and our beloved sisters. This new year, 2025, we are black men declare we're here to change the narrative. And in 2025, the narrative truly needs to be changed. We don't have to come on this morning and speak of anything about 2025. If you've been reading anything or paying attention to anything, you already know all about it. And we know today is a very significant day, and that is the day that we honor Martin Luther King as a national holiday. And it's the day that we also this year will see the changing of the guard at the presidential level with number 47 coming in. And we know that there are going to be some special reporting by some young people that we know that are attending that inauguration to get experience and to report back what is going on from their perspective. So first of all, we want to just honor those that are there to cover this event. I know some have indicated, oh, why should we attend or why should we go and entertain? Why should we do anything that would show involvement with the incoming president? But to that I say, why would you want to run away from or hide from or alienate or not have an opportunity to be used even by God for such a time as this? That perhaps you would be called to be able to go in and entertain or to discuss or to whatever. We so often have this mindset that everybody is being bought out or everybody is compromising. But when can we ever see it perhaps from God's perspective that this is their opportunity to go in and be used by God? So, brothers, to get us started this morning, want to just hear some of your perspective on what do you think about these people that are always saying, well, you shouldn't attend and oh, we should try to do this or do that? And when again, it could be opportunities for many to develop potential relationships. And who knows? But from my perspective, God always uses people to get his plan across. And isolation may not be the best strategy for such a time as this. Dr. Tell, what's your heart telling you this morning?
Greetings to you, Dr. Rogers, and greetings to our sisters and our brothers of Black Men Declare. I find it interesting, and I was reading a article that spoke about especially even artists or R&B or rap artists. We understand that Christine Massette sang at his last inauguration, and her career suffered tremendously and still is recovering from this black R&B artist, still recovering from her being a participant. This year, they have rap star Nelly, and his argument is, well, no other president has ever invited me, white or black. And he said, I'm going to perform. It's an honor to perform for the president. And they said, well, why would don't you see anything wrong with it? He's like, I'm performing for the president of the United States, not the president for the black states or the white state. I'm going because I was asked to come, and it's a great honor. I think that there are a number of people, they are calling for a electronic boycott, and I'm not necessarily in agreement with the boycott either, because I think that's where we make a mistake. If we don't look, if we don't pay attention, if we don't know, if we're not in the room, then how can we strategize against their strategies? How can we not know what they're up to if we are not present? Now, we hope that that people will be present, that will be able to come back and inform us what's going on. But I think we definitely should always be in the room, that we be represented in the room, and that we know what's going on so that we can report back and give some insight to the rest of us. As always, blessings to you all.
Peace, brothers.
Peace to my colleagues, my brothers, my friends in this fight for truth, freedom, justice, and equality. And I'm kind of in the same line with how you phrased the question, Dr. Rogers, and what my brother William Tell. Like, I don't understand what boycotting is going to do for Black people. I really don't. I feel that we need to be more aware of what he's saying, how he's saying it, the language he's using. I think that prepares us more for the fight that we have for 4 years than turning the TV off and turning the TV off and not paying attention, trying to cause it to be a low ratings. Even if it is a low ratings, he still got the presidency for the next 4 years. So what difference does it make? What difference does it make to turn the TV off? I received text messages yesterday from family and from friends. You know, this thread about turning the TV off causing low ratings. I mean, that's a frustrating part because now I really see that we're really not prepared for the next 4 years. So we being petty now. We being petty because we really are not prepared for the next 4 years. I want to see what this man is saying, what his people are saying. I want to see what they're saying for the next 4 years. I want to know the language so I can be prepared, so I can prepare my children. Like just like for example, a few days before, and this is what I'm talking about. A few days, 2 days before I think it was 2 days. Yeah, 2 days before this inauguration, Trump dropped a meme coin at I believe it was close to midnight, and I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention, but the coin you could have got the coin for a few cents on the dollar, and by the next morning that coin was up like 300-400%. You could have turned $100 into like $20,000. But if you don't pay attention to what's going on and what's happening, then you don't get benefit of that. I know a couple of friends that because they paid attention that night, they was able to put in and then pull out close to $20,000 off $100-200 worth of money. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like we have to be aware of what's going on, or we're going to miss out on a whole lot this next 4 years. Peace, family.
That's powerful, brothers. Very powerful. And see, that's why we can't get ourselves into an isolationist mindset and philosophy. Now more than ever, we have to get close. That old axiom says, "Be let your friends be close, but let your enemies be closer." I mean, that's a truism at the moment because now more than ever, we need to know and understand multiple strategies. We cannot hold on to one particular strategy. We must have multiple ways to level the playing field. Yes, we still should hold on to what we were conditioned from the past that we must be twice as good, and at the end of the day, we must never lose that particular mindset. I think we have become desensitized and also de-intensified, to be quite honest, in that regard over the course of these last couple of generations. But we've got to make a change in that regard. You just said something, both of you, that I believe our brother, our brother Nearly Fuller said in his writings about understanding the ways of white folks, and that wherever they go, you go, because if they're going to always go to someplace safe and put themselves in safe environments, and if you want to be safe, then some of us got to be, and we got to understand we're not going to be able at this stage of the game to have total, complete isolation for everybody. There may be some for a few, but it's not going to be for everybody. That brings me, brother, to another particular subject matter, this concept of criminals being pardoned by the presidents. And I have mixed feelings on that. I have brothers who and brother-in-laws who have been incarcerated for, my goodness, many, many years, over 30, 35 years. And the crimes allegedly committed were not murder. They were they were, I guess you would say, serious crimes, but they lived in a place where others have come in who were murderers, and they have left those prison systems. So I guess a question I like to hear from you, I mean some answers from you brothers this morning is what's your thought processes on this whole concept of pardoning people, where we know 47 is allegedly coming into office with the intent to pardon those that have been sentenced and those that are in prison institutions for the January 6th insurrection?
I think, Dr. Rogers, I mean, that's a great question. And you have to look at it and say, and like you just mentioned, those who are being pardoned. When you look at the legal system, and you would think that it was supposed to create some equal bias on for everybody, but we understand that it doesn't. Where your brothers-in-laws or brothers-in-love should be free, you have people that doesn't benefit Donald Trump. That doesn't benefit the system. The way where there currently is, it benefits the system. So those who being pardoned that was a part of the insurrection, that benefits that system, because now you have people who were supportive and was willing to even go to jail to be supportive of this president. And because of that, now you're going to allow them to be back on the street, to be more upset, to cause more drama, and have an understanding. If I get into trouble, if I do something wrong, I got a president that will back me up. Again, I've learned by having brothers, two of my brothers being incarcerated. And I thought about it. Why would they let them out when they have free labor? When they have another black man with intelligence off the streets? When they have another family broken up? It doesn't benefit the system that allow them to be free. But these who cause drama, who cause chaos, who cause over millions of dollars to come down on what was supposed to be symbols of freedom, symbols of capitalism, for them now to say, we can do whatever we want to. So it doesn't benefit the system. So I understand why they are allowing these people to come out. As always, blessings to you all.
Peace again, brothers. I'm not sure if you guys saw the latest news this morning, ABC, CNN. I'm seeing it on all. I wanted to double check before I actually mentioned it. But this is the issue. Okay. We're talking about Trump pardoning the January 6th people. Biden came out and preemptively pardoned Fauci this morning. Why are you preemptively pardoning Fauci? What do you know that we're going to come down the pipe that we don't know? That you have to preemptively pardon Fauci. Now, he also pardoned the January 6th committee who was looking into the investigation. I could understand that one. I could really understand that one. But why are you coming to preemptively pardon Fauci? So now when Democrats say, oh, you shouldn't be pardoning the January 6th people, but yet you have Biden over here pardoning a doctor who evidently he knows have committed some level of crime. This is the issue with America. And this is why I can't stand on either side, because they're both stating on different sides of the coin, in my opinion.
What they both say? They both stink. They stank. They got stank all on them, man. I mean, you think about some of the people that Biden approved or pardoned prior to even this latest round. They had stank on them Dr. Tell. They was thinking, man, and it makes no sense whatsoever. And now you see the corruption in the Supreme Court. You see the corruption in how all over this nation, former 45 has been able to do what he did and does. And I had not heard that one, Denmark, on the preemptive strategy with Fossey, man. And oh, that's very interesting there because you go way back to the original day. There are some that said he was an original investor in that whole process, man. That he had been able to maneuver some monies from that organization that he'd been the director of for so long and would just continuously sit up in those hearings. And I could remember who was it, Rand Paul, calling him just an outright liar to his face. So man, I'm sure that's going to be interesting as we move ahead. But the bottom line, brothers, in this whole situation, the Democrats and the Republicans have failed. They have failed America and they have failed black folks. We just, it's not even just us. They failed America and they have been able to run game on America by virtue of how they conduct their business, passing laws and within those laws and in those pages, within those footnotes, other add-on situations that take place because you got my vote. Now I got this kind of money for my district, my whatever, whatever, whatever. Just full of corruption, brothers. And it just burns me to no ends. But that's why in that level of competition, I'm beginning to wonder sometimes, have we seen the same thing slip into the nature of our competitive sports? I was watching some of these football games over the weekends, my brothers, and you all know my bias. I love to see the brother quarterbacks succeed because I was one of those, and I know my brother Denmark as well, and I before him a few years that we started that whole revolution of being able to play in that position. And when we were looking at those last 8 teams, 5 of those 8 teams had black quarterbacks. Then in the first 2 games, 2 of those brothers still sustained themselves and were able to advance. And then last night, the other brother fell short, not because of what he did. He had some errors in the game, and I always say one play does not cause you to lose, but you can win on one play. And on one play, there was an opportunity to, catch a pass and go, with a 2-point conversion and then go into overtime. So, brothers, I guess the question I have for you is, are we going to see now the Josh Allen of Buffalo take down these brothers one by one as now one is falling in Lamar Jackson? Or will we see one of these other brothers stand up tall and say, nope, we're going to end your run in 2025 with this game here? Because I could tell you, brothers, somebody somebody on the European side is thinking of that scenario. How this boy, this man, I'll say that, excuse me, took down all of these brothers. I'm just saying, let's be unadulterated with the comments because that's surely going to happen. It's going to take place. That if that dude is able, and I know we got Denmark, a brother we both know that love the Buffalo Bills, and I know he's going to be conflicted as they go through the situation, being that the only people that Josh Allen is going to play against, and if he wins it from here on out, will be black quarterbacks. So, Dr. Tell, like to hear your comments, brothers, on how you see this thing unfolding, and can you see or hear the conversation that's going to be taking place between the European community?
I don't think that they are going to allow Josh Allen to go past Kansas City. I think in the long run and in the big scheme of things, they would love for Kansas City to establish a dynasty like the years of the 70s and the 80s. I think though, and I talked to some guys last night while we were looking at the game, that this is going to be their argument for stopping Lamar from getting player of the year 3 years in a row. I think that they're going to use this as their benchmark, not understanding that Lamar's stats are far better than Josh Allen's. And it's really unfair because there should have been a three-way race with Saquon Barkley, but they just said it has to be between it got to be a quarterback, and it's got to be between Josh Allen and Lamar. So I believe that because of the loss, they're going to give that to him, and then they're going to say, no, we can't give you the Super Bowl, and we're going to allow these other teams to go ahead and go forth. Now, being a little biased, praying and hoping that it will be Jalen and it will be a rematch. It will be a great game in New Orleans at the Super Bowl, but I would not be surprised if they allow the Commanders to go to the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback and new ownership. And this is somewhat their reward and also their excitement on getting a brand new stadium. So we've seen this play out before when it happened to the Atlanta Falcons. And right before they were supposed to get that money to go get a brand new stadium, which is phenomenal stadium now, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, they allowed them to go to the Super Bowl but lose. So I would not be surprised if the same thing happened again.
Other words, you're saying that there's a script in the NFL. But this is a tough one, brothers, because I see it kind of like you framed the question again. The great white hope, the slayer that's stopping the brothers from achieving what had never been achieved before. He did that. And I'm sure, just as we were thinking, boy, it'd be beautiful to see four brothers in the championships, two on the NFC, two in the AFC for the first time ever. I'm sure some white folks are saying, man, we can't have four, man. We don't want to hear that the next 2-3 weeks. We don't want to hear that. So they were wishing and praying that Josh Allen was able to hold on to that victory last night and what she did. So I can see them saying that, and I can see them saying we definitely don't want two black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. So Josh, you gotta defeat Patrick Mahomes. You know, and as I listened to the broadcast last night, you hear it in the broadcasters in so many ways. Josh Allen has a chance to take down Patrick Mahomes. He has a chance to take down Patrick Mahomes to solidify his status. So you're starting to hear that language, and I know the language when it's spoken. Like, we're already going to have a brother quarterback no matter what on the NFC side. Either it's going to be a rookie or it's going to be Hurts, who nobody can't deny. Hurts is just a winner. He's just a winner. No matter stats, what Hurts is a winner. You can't take that away from that young brother. But on the other side, they're wishing that Josh is able to defeat Patrick and stop two brothers from playing in the Super Bowl again, as they did before with Hurts and with Mahomes. And he actually stopped one of my dreams, man. That was the closest that I came to it, just to have four competing to go to the Super Bowl, man. That was a dream of mine as somebody who played the position, who know the work that you got to put in as a black quarterback, the things that you have to do better than any. It can never be a close race between a black quarterback and a white quarterback, because the tie always going to go to the other. I mean, I hate to say it's getting better. It's getting better because some of the coaches, like Andy Reid, and I have to give Andy Reid, Big Red. I have to give him his credit, man. I have to. I can never take away anything from Andy Reid, who has time in and time out, giving brothers quarterbacks a chance, and has stuck by even in their lowest moments. So I can, from his perspective, and there's a few others that that tend to do that. But for him, I have to give him credit, man. But I know there's some people that's rooting for Josh Allen just for that reason alone.
And Denmark, that's shameful because, as I said before, we know a common friend, beloved friend that's a Buffalo fan, just as I know many brothers in Detroit. I know they were torn as well between the reality of their team and or their quarterback versus the continuous emergence of quarterbacks, black quarterbacks in the NFL. Now we're gonna do a little quick, short bonus segment, brothers. After the Russell Wilson situation in Pittsburgh, after that great start this year, and how it ended up on such a losing note, with of course him being blamed for most of that demise. And you hear the calls for Tomlin, oh, he's been there long enough, it's time to make a change. And then they go out and sign a quarterback right away from Miami that, in my view, hasn't proven anything in the NFL. And all of a sudden, the fingers attempt to be pointed at, you know, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and Tomlin, and like you just indicated, and Mark, all of a sudden the folks say, hold on, wait a minute, doggone. You got all these black folks involved here. Maybe we need to do something different. And so you see the influence of the sports writers, coming up with scenarios and saying things and presenting things that quite often have no foundation in truth. It's just that they wrote an article. They did a podcast where they mentioned the possibilities of what somebody should do. And then what's so crazy is how sometimes these particular articles or interviews or whatever with folks, man, they all of a sudden become potential strategies for implementation. So I guess the question is, how do you guys see that situation in Pittsburgh? I mean, it was a tragedy the way it ended. And once again, of course, I'm biased. You see the black quarterback and you see the black coach because you had a chance this year to see that as well. You see the black quarterback on the side, on the leading the team, and seeing the black coach on the sideline leading as well. So, how you brothers see that situation, man? And what would be your response to what's going on in that regards? Because it seems like there's such a high level of confusion sometimes when you hear these kind of situations that don't start again with the team or with the ownership, but and we know Stephen A does a great job of creating funk when there is no funk. But why are these broadcasters, podcasters creating this funk when a lot of times there's nothing there? And overall, we end up as fans believing, and then the next thing you know, a month down the road, somebody's actually trying to execute those ideas.
I think, it's always about taking responsibility and placing the blame where it ought to be. And maybe it's not even about placing blame, but it's about change. What I've come to realize that sometimes a lot of people will want to change, and the only way that they can get it is they have to blame somebody to make themselves look better. Ownership and the president of the teams rarely, and the GMs rarely look towards themselves as to being a problem. I think that was I know that was part of the problem for the Washington Commanders for all those years. And now that they have new leadership from the top to the bottom, then that's why they are doing different. So I think you have to go ahead and look at it. And I hope that that organization will look at it and start trying to blame others and say it's not necessarily them, but it's us.
Yeah, that's a Pittsburgh situation is very. I don't even know the words to describe it right now. Because first of all, you start out. I think Justin Field went what 4-2 or 6-2 or something like that. I can't remember his schedule. You make that change. Well, I thought that they should have kept rolling with him because he had the fresher legs and what they was trying to do. Run, run, run. That's run, 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 pass. They try to use that old school brand of football, and with Justin Fields being able to use his legs more, it probably would have took them a little further. But they made the change, and then I was with Wilson because I know he got a unfair shake in Denver, and then it started out strong. But you can see that there was issues, and the issues were not Russell Wilson. You have a receiver that's real childish. You have the running game wasn't as strong as what they think it was. The play calling was horrible. And the defense is not the defense of Pittsburgh from the old days. They still trying to rely on the name, the steel curtain, the running game of the Jerome Bettis and the Franco Harris. That's not what they have. So for them to go to get into the playoffs, at least was get in, or have finished like they finished. Like, I mean, that's a good to me. That was good for what they were working with. So there's a lot of blame that could go around, but we all know the quarterback is going to get most of the praise and he's going to get most of the blame. So I accept that, but I believe that just wasn't this case in Pittsburgh. I think the fans are they be almost becoming to be like Dallas Cowboys fans, where they are relying on the past and think that every team that they get is supposed to be something from the past. You have to be realistic and look what you have on your roster. Look at the players. Look at the thing. It's not the Steelers of the '70s. It's not the Steelers of 15 years ago or whatever. It's not. So you have to deal with that. But because they are a franchise that have been winning decade in, decade out, they assume that things are gonna stay the same. But a lot of these franchises have gotten better. The playing field is becoming even. So they have to be more realistic. But I believe that just like the Cowboys fans, they're becoming delusional.
Hey, when you become delusional, a lot of times that's because you're suffering from some infection. And when you suffer from that infection, you become delusional, man. That pain becomes so great that you lose touch with reality. You move into that alternate state of consciousness. And when you move into that alternate state of consciousness, you cannot be objective about whatever is going on. And so those were some beautiful analogies, man, and segments and assessments of what's going on and what went on because I'm with you, Denmark. I'm like watching the game and I'm seeing the ball hit a dude right in the hands and he drops the ball, right? That would have changed the whole game right there for Pittsburgh. And the same dude at the interview talking about how things gonna be any better. And he said, no. I'm like, dude, you dropped the ball that was so perfectly thrown that I don't even know how you could say that. I'm with you, Denmark, and you tell it's no way, man, that was a Russell Wilson, debacle. I think again, I don't know why they may have made that move initially with Justin, but at the end of the day, I can't see how they want to now put all the blame on the QBs, man. No more so than when you think about some of these so-called great quarterbacks. Let's go back to say like a Terry Bradshaw. Was he really that great? I mean, you throwing to Hall of Famers, man. When you throwing the Hall of Famers, like Phil Jackson, they talk about, he playing, he coaching Hall of Famers. I mean, as was his name, the dude that was at Dallas, Johnson, he went down to Miami. He didn't have no talent. What did he do? He lost. He lost. He lost. Brothers, it's been good being with you today, man. Just sharing a few comments, a few open questions. We praise God and thank God for you. Now I know you got some days, something today. I'm gonna be honest with you, brothers. This is a fairly difficult day. This is my mother's birthday and my brother's birthday, and they both have transitioned on. May they rest in peace. And lot of thoughts going through my mind, my spirit, but I praise God for both of them. I know Brother Denmark just had a beautiful day. We praise God for he and his ministry gifts and all that he does. And Dr. Tell, we know that you continue to put your hand to the plow, man, and all the beautiful things that you're doing for the family, man. That's one thing, knowing you brothers and what I see you do for the family, man, it's an encouragement. And again, we are praying for that young reporter that's there in Washington, D.C., reporting at that inauguration. That I'm sure that as she goes through that, her thought process will never be the same. It'll be for change forever. So, brothers, we're going to close it down, and I'm going to give you a minute, Dr. Tell. Close it down today for a minute, then we'll give Denmark a minute and close it down.
Well, it's mighty funny. We are praying with you and for you. Even during this time of bereavement, there isn't usually too many days that I don't think about my father and my best friend transitioning 8 years apart on the same day in August. And because I look so much like my father and I'm beginning to look more like him, when I look in the mirror, I see him. So we are praying with you and again for you. It's funny that though there is a inauguration going on, I'm kind of happy that most of Washington, D.C. is more excited about the Washington Commanders than they are about this inauguration. It's 27 degrees currently, but as they said, it feels like 17. So I would definitely advise everybody to continue to press towards the mark, continue that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And that, you got to look at the family and friends and look and see what your foes are doing. As always, blessings to you all.
My brothers, I'm praying for both of you. Brother J.A. Rogers, especially for you in this time, knowing what your mom and what your brother meant to you. Pray for your strength and as they say, think on the good things. Focus on the good things, man, because these times are heavy, man, and anything could kind of pull us in the wrong direction. So try to focus on the great things that you remember about them. I just pray that everybody just continue to just learn in this time. We have 4 years. It could be 4 years of hell, or it could be 4 years that's better than what you think it was going to be. But at the end of the day, we have to realize that nobody is coming to save us from out of the White House, our house, the back house, or any kind of house. So we have to begin to look to ourselves, turn to ourselves. Once again, God is putting us in a situation where we have to turn into ourselves and turn into Him and make our moves. But this time, let's be more focused on people who are more conscious and more, or I should say, not trying to put us in a place where we have to bow down to these white supremacists any longer. We have to be thinking outside of the box on what will be better for us individually, outside, even though we in America, but outside of the realms or the grips of America, what is going to be better for Black America and for the next 100 years, because the two are not mutually exclusively. I mean, mutually exclusive. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Powerful comments, brothers. And I receive both of your well wishes and prayers and had a great time today. And Pray that you brothers will have a great time today as well with family and friends. And again, congratulations, Dr. Kell. And as we say, congratulations to you, Brother Denmark and I. We are still very pleased with the progress and the movement of the Black QB in this current process. And we're going to continue to believe as we move forward. All right. So, you brothers and sisters, you all have a great day. Listening audience, we would like for you to smash that like button, become a subscriber, share this with someone else, and also smash that notification so you'll know the next time we're on. We are Black Men Declare. Our intent is to change the narrative. That narrative change may be for whites and it may be for blacks because we don't operate in a traditional mindset of we just gonna go along with the gang along. So we're going to give you some independent thought and independent perspective, regardless of what the subject matter may be. So until next time, this is J. Rogers, Mike Side, going out in peace and love.